Hello, guys. Hope you're doing well. I'm Ollie. If you enjoy a good Reddit story, feel free to hit that subscribe button. I won't stop you. Right then, let's crack on with our first story of the day. Our first story of the day comes from Select Cable 1048 in the Am I the Arsehole subreddit. And it says, Am I the a-hole for wanting a divorce? I, a 24-year-old female, have been married for 5 years to a 25-year-old male. We started exploring a lot in the bedroom in the past year. Mostly all of it was suggested by Nick. Nick brought up different ideas, like allowing a third party to join us in the bedroom or using toys. I was originally against the idea, but Nick would constantly bring it up, so I gave in. The person invited was a male, so it wasn't him wanting another woman. It was never an open relationship, just a few threesomes with another man. I always jokingly told Nick I would do certain acts to him in the back door. I never thought he would agree since Nick was always straight and confirmed that he was secure in his sexuality as a straight man. Nick recently opened up about wanting to do backdoor activities, but with me doing them to him. I was shocked as well as curious, so we went ahead and tried one thing. We discussed it and then later went to bed. The next day, Nick confessed to me that he is not straight but bisexual. He has desires to explore with men but ultimately loves me. I told the truth that I wasn't aware he was that way until now. Now I may be the a-hole for what I did next, but I told Nick that I love and support him, but I couldn't be the one to hold his hand as he got involved with another man. I view him in a totally different light now. We had discussed sexuality before, and I was honest about not wanting to ever be with a man who was into other men. Nick told me he loves me and asked me not to out him, which I will not. But I told him that I couldn't be with him knowing he's wanting to be with a man instead. He threw different ideas at me, suggesting that he could just mess around with a man but never go all the way, or I could use various methods on him to satisfy his desire. I do love him, and I do want to support him on his new journey, but I cannot be with him knowing this since I knew he would probably bring it up until I gave in. He's done this before, where we don't agree on something and he will be upset or keep bringing a certain topic up until I give in. He did that with the threesome idea. He would promise me to stop bringing it up, but never did. He wore me down until I gave in, and I just feel like he will do it again. I don't want him to resent me, and I don't want to be selfish and stay with him and force him to be someone he's not. Am I the a-hole for wanting a divorce? He's been very sad, and I've just been crying. There is no going back to normal since my perception of him has changed. For years, he has lied to me. What happens next? Hold on a moment, because there's a lot to unpack here. First of all, the emotional whirlwind of discovering your partner's undisclosed bisexuality must be massive. I mean, talk about a plot twist. When you commit to someone, there's this unspoken understanding of knowing them inside out, right? And now, suddenly, you're standing in this unfamiliar territory where the lines have become all blurry. Let's just address what's really glaring here: the persistence. I swear, this sounds like a masterclass in passive-aggressive persuasion. Nick kept chipping away at your boundaries with that damn persistence. It's absurd, as if, hey, just because you repeat something enough times, it'll morph into a good idea? No thanks. This isn't about tolerance or open-mindedness. This boils down to mutual respect. And here's the crux of the matter: your autonomy. You're being authentic about your boundaries in the relationship, and that's absolutely okay. Listen, you didn't sign up for a partner exploration recruitment drive, and it's perfectly fair to be uneasy when the ground shifts beneath you like this. You're not an accessory to someone else's journey if it costs you your peace of mind. So, hit the comments, folks, because I know this one's a minefield of opinions. What do you think? Is breaking away justified, or should love conquer all? Spill your thoughts.
A Reddit user says, pansexual/bisexual person here. You can absolutely be bisexual and not sleep with other people if you're married and monogamous. For goodness sake, I hate this whole nonsense about I have to explore this with other people. Like, no, you don't. Are you sexually attracted to both? Do you masturbate to both? Congrats, you're bisexual. You absolutely do not need to engage with other people to figure that out. That's being a player. It's this toxic nonsense that gives bisexual/pansexual folks a promiscuous reputation, and it really sucks. If a straight person suddenly said, You know, I think I'm sexually attracted to a wildly different body type than my current partner. I need to explore this new side of myself. You'd look at them like they were being an idiot. People like that don't need to explore their sexual identity. They know what it is, or they wouldn't be feeling how they feel. They want to explore their sexual fantasies. Those two things are similar but not the same. I'm pansexual. I have a wide range of sexual preferences. I feel the need to sleep with 0 people besides my fiance because I love them and we're monogamous. And on top of this bisexual nonsense, your boyfriend is a manipulative deceiver? Absolutely not. Leave him. There are plenty of good folks out there, queer and otherwise, who are actually worth your time and attention. You're not leaving him because he's bisexual. It's because he's a manipulator, a player, and an asshole. That's not orientation specific.
S. So Noma says, "You're not the a-hole. He lied to you. Why would you feel bad about hurting him over divorce?
I would be angry if someone wasted my time like he did. He is the a-hole. He made promises to you when you got married. He was lying to you. You got married under false pretenses. Why aren't you angrier? Move on."
OP responds, "I feel like I owe him something because I participated in 3 ways, and since it involved a male, I had my fun. It isn't fair for me to tell him no when he did something for me. Granted, it was his idea and I just ended up going along with it. So I owe him in a way? I don't know, I'm just a mess in thoughts."
A Reddit user says, "First of all, I'm curious. Did you enjoy the 3-way and how often did you engage in it? And was he watching you or what was the situation? I understand things have changed now. This is a new level. When his needs exceed those of a normal relationship, it's over." OP responds, "I mean, it's intimate, so I did end up enjoying it. However, it was very uncomfortable for me the first 2 times, and he did join. We didn't do it every week, but the number of times we have done it can be counted using both of my hands in the span of a little over a year."
2 days later, the OP comes with an update and says, "Update. We are taking a break for a few weeks while I clear my head because his revelation was just a lot for me. I'm still just struggling to understand how we got here. I love this man with everything. He wasn't my first, but he was my first in a lot of things. We have discussed further his sexuality, and he's just very confused apparently. The more he thought about it, the more he realized he wasn't into being with a man, but ultimately was curious. I told him if he wanted to explore, he could, and I wouldn't be mad if that was the path he was willing to take alone. Ultimately, he admitted that he wants to try more things in the bedroom surrounding his back door, and I hesitated, but agreed. We agreed that we would explore whatever he meant, but just as a couple. I also gave him the ultimatum, and with the courage of a lot of your comments, to stop pushing for the openness in our bedroom. No more third parties, ever. As I mentioned in my original post, he was into the idea of sharing me with another man, and I never wanted to. I won't lie and say I didn't enjoy the few times we have 3-ways, but I always felt very ashamed, embarrassed, guilty, and just plain horrible after each encounter. I would tell him these things, and he blamed my religious parents, Christians. But I would tell him no, since I did not grow up in a church, and my parents recently converted, so his claims have no solid foundation. He's a bit upset about my decision, but I'm ultimately happy because I've wanted to put an end to that for months. Wish me luck, Reddit. This will most likely be my only and last update. I will be logging out after since this is a throwaway. Maybe if everything goes to hell, I'll be back."
That's what Mom 5 says. Be realistic. This really is not a healthy marriage and never has been. Coercion is not consent. Wearing someone down until they perform a sexual act they don't want to is not someone consenting. That is why you felt so awful afterward. It was not something you wanted. Love is respect, and he does not have that for you. Honestly, I'm not sure why you trust him at all to not go behind your back with men, since he has made it clear that his wants come first. Nor do I understand why you are buying into this "I'm just curious" turn he has taken. He's saying what you want to hear because he does not want a divorce. This is the same guy that tried to manipulate you into believing your parents' recent conversion somehow influenced your childhood. He's not a good guy. OP responds, "I know it's just really hard not to believe him since we've had an amazing 5 years. We've had our little hiccups, yes, but nothing to this extreme.
Let me tell you something. This story really pulls at the heartstrings, doesn't it? We've got OP here, absolutely tangled in this emotional web, and the stakes are high. The thing that gets me is how, despite how intensely personal and distressing it is, OP manages to hold conversations and set, wait for it, boundaries. It's not just about the revelation of his sexuality, but the layers of personal growth she's dealing with. And then there's the bombshell about the three-ways. Like, how does that even align with OP's comfort zone? And speaking of disasters, I can't believe OP was engaging in something that made her feel, frankly, bloody awful. It's like, are we all just ignoring the emotional fallout here? The notion that it's not her religious upbringing, but just, oh, I don't know, basic human discomfort is quite liberating. Props to OP for standing her ground and for signaling the importance of self-awareness and honest communication. If any of you are grappling with similar situations, reflect, communicate, and remember, you're not alone. Brave decisions deserve applause, and OP, I'm cheering for her all the way. Drop your thoughts below because I am entirely invested in knowing your take on this. 3 days later, the OP comes with an update and shares. I will reference my original post and the last update. I am done. I have decided to choose myself and my daughter. It's going to be very difficult since I have no money, no car, nothing. But I decided that nothing is better than waiting for him to unalive me or do something horrible again. Thank you to everyone who reached out. My daughter is turning 1 next month, and I'm proud to say that I'm scared, but I will no longer subject her to the possibility of ever being abused by her father because of my selfishness and lack of self-respect and love. I don't know how I'm going to serve him divorce papers or what to do. I'm a mess, crying so hard because I don't want to leave him, but I know I must.
Someone says, please reach out to a woman's shelter for support. They can help you. You're brave and a good mom. Someone says, drop your shame for your daughter, if not for yourself, and seek help with your family. OP responds, I know I could have a supportive system, which is good, but I don't want their help. I want to stay with him so badly. I love him so much, and if he'd come to me and say, I love you, Jan, come home with me, I would. I'm so weak when it comes to him. I love him so much, I really do. A Reddit user says, I'm confused. I read the original post and the update. While he did push and manipulate for these intimate encounters, nowhere did you say that he hurt or abused you. What proof or reasoning do you have that he'd unalive you or hurt your daughter? Our next story comes from Training Distance 4448 in the Am I the Asshole subreddit. And it says, Am I the a-hole for telling a woman at the gym that she's embarrassing herself? I go to the gym a lot. About 6 months ago, I noticed a woman I'll call Andrea. That's not her name, but it will be for the rest of this post. I don't know if Andrea started going to the gym 6 months ago, or if that's just when I noticed her. Full disclosure, I spoke to her first, but I had no way of knowing what the result would be. A lot of the machines at this gym have little entertainment systems attached to them that can access local channels. I got on a treadmill and realized the TV on the treadmill wasn't working. Andrea was walking past, and I said, Hey, do you know if there's an issue with the cable? This TV isn't working, but I don't know if it's just this one or all of them. She said the same thing happened to her on a different machine. I thanked her. That was the whole interaction. A week later, she asked me for some electrolyte powder for her water. I said I didn't have any. She was cool with that and asked me how long I'd been coming to the gym and what I did for work. I answered and returned her questions. She said she was new to the area and worked in private security. We had a few more chill conversations after that. 6 weeks ago, she asked me out. For reasons I won't get into here, I wasn't interested. I declined. She said not to worry about things being awkward at the gym if we don't work out. I said that wasn't the issue, just not looking to date right now. She kept talking to me, and at first I kept talking to her, but I started to think something might be wrong, and I started avoiding her. 2 weeks ago, she walked up to me while I was on a machine with only one way to properly dismount that involved stepping into where she was standing. She asked if I was avoiding her. I said I was and apologized. I said I just don't want to date right now.
She said I don't have to avoid her to not date her. I said, okay. I kept avoiding her though. Tonight, while I was working out, she confronted me again about avoiding her. I had a bad day and told her to leave me alone. She asked why I'm being such a prick, and I said because I wanted her to leave me alone. I then said that she was embarrassing herself and needs to stop. She put her foot on top of the weights, and I thought she was going to press down on them, so I let go of the bar very quickly, causing the weights to slam and make a loud noise. Several people looked over. She said, "Now who's embarrassing himself?" and walked away. Did I go too far by saying that? Do I owe her an apology? Update. I went in early this morning for a run and told the front desk staff about Andrea putting her foot on the weights. They said they would talk to her. Then, after work, I went in again for a regular workout. I was working on my legs when she walked up to my machine. The first thing she did was apologize about the weights. I don't know if someone talked to her or if that was her own initiative. I accepted her apology and apologized for saying she was embarrassing herself. She said she forgave me, but if I wanted to really make it up to her, I could buy her a drink, and she would buy me one too, to make up for the weights. I said maybe we should buy our own drinks, meaning separately at different places and times, and she misunderstood me and asked when and where. I told her I meant that I didn't want to go out with her. She said this wouldn't be a date, but a reset for our friendship. I said I didn't want to be friends. She said I was being a douche and asked what my problem is. I said the weight incident made me uncomfortable and I would rather us just give each other space. She then asked me if my problem with her is that she's Hispanic. I was so taken aback. I didn't even know she was until she said that. I said no, that she just makes me uncomfortable. She wanted me to explain what about her made me uncomfortable, and I tried to do so, but she argued with every point I made. I got frustrated and told her to just stay away from me. She said fine and that I have a lot of maturing to do. Then she walked away. I'm hoping that's the end of it.
A Reddit user says, "The minute her foot went onto those weights, it became really important to report this. I'm sorry you stumbled across a gym stalker. So did I a few years ago, and it chased me out of the gym entirely." Just a few days later, the OP returns with an update regarding the gym incident and shares, "Summary of the previous post. Skip this paragraph if you read that post. A woman at my gym, Andrea, not her real name, asked me out after some normal, non-romantic interactions. I turned her down, and shortly after, I started getting a weird vibe from her and began avoiding her. She confronted me about avoiding her twice, and the second time, I said she was embarrassing herself. After that, she put her foot on the weight stack of the machine I was using, causing me to let go of the bar quickly and slam the weights. I initially thought I was the jerk for my rude comment, but most posters said I actually underreacted and should talk to gym management, which I did. After that, Andrea confronted me again and asked me out once more. I turned her down, we argued briefly, and she said I needed to grow up. Actual update. Andrea is banned from the gym. I was running on the treadmill and watching TV. She approached me to talk, and I ignored her, focusing on the TV. She raised her voice, and I continued to ignore her. She reached out and pulled the safety tab out of the treadmill, the one you connect to your wrist so the treadmill stops if you fall, causing the treadmill to come to a sudden stop. I tripped and fell onto the controls and TV, scratching my chin on the top of the screen. I went to the front desk with Andrea following me. I told them what she did. She kept trying to interrupt me and talk over me, but the woman at the front desk told her to be quiet and wait her turn. I told her Andrea pulled out the safety tab while I was running and injured me. The woman at the front desk then asked Andrea what happened. Andrea said I was staring into the middle distance as if I were in some kind of fugue state, and she thought I was having a medical episode, so she pulled the tab. The woman at the front desk asked for her membership card. Andrea didn't want to give it to her, but the woman at the front desk said if she didn't, she would ban her. Andrea gave her the card, and the woman at the front desk told her to leave, stating she was suspended for a month. Andrea objected and got into an argument with the woman at the front desk, which escalated into Andrea calling the woman a racial slur. So, she was banned permanently. I hesitate to call that a happy ending because the poor gym employee had to put up with racial harassment, but I won't deny that getting to watch her cut up Andrea's membership card felt good.
Oh my, what a climax to an already outrageous and absurd saga. Honestly, Andrea is like a walking disaster zone, isn't she? And here's the thing, the level of audacity she exhibits is absolutely off the charts. First, she manages to escalate from awkward gym confrontation to actual physical interference. And then, to go and racially abuse the employee. That's where I completely lose my mind. I mean, what on earth was Andrea thinking? The nerve to disrupt your treadmill workout, literally risking you to trip and fall, then act like she's doing some noble deed? Incredible. Her calling it a medical episode is just pure nonsense. And let me tell you, the only rational reaction here, from the gym's perspective, is that lifetime ban. Seriously, it should have happened sooner. But can we just talk about the front desk hero? She did not waver in the face of madness and held her ground like a champion. Honestly, though, she deserves all the respect for handling the situation with such dignity in the face of such trashy behavior. I can't even imagine having to deal with Andrea's level of delusion. Tell me I'm wrong, but cutting that membership card must have been the single most satisfying moment it could ever possibly be. Drop your thoughts below, because I could use some moral support after this whirlwind.
Someone says, "Still, you're not the a-hole. Andrea proved herself to be irrational with a side of racism."
OP responds, and the irony is that she accused me of being racist for not wanting to date her. Snoo Words 4839 says, "Get the desk person some flowers, just a small bunch from the grocery store, and thank her for doing a great job of protecting members."
OP responds, "I don't know what time she works, so I feel like I should get her something non-perishable. So if she isn't there when I bring it in, they can give it to her later."
Just a few days after the previous update, the OP has come back with more details to share. He says, "Sorry for the incomprehensible post. I posted this last night when I was drunk. I'll rewrite it to explain what happened. Last night, I went to a bar near my apartment to meet up with some friends. The three of us were drinking and having a good time when Andrea walked up. I never saw her enter the bar. I only noticed her when she was in front of us. She greeted me and said it was good to see me and leaned in to try to kiss me. I pushed her away from me and she fell, but one of my friends caught her. She started yelling and asking what the heck is wrong with me. I told her to stay away from me and not come any closer. She asked if I was embarrassed of her and didn't want my friends to see her. I said, "This is the third time you've tried to assault me, and I want you to stay away from me." At that point, the bouncer showed up to ask what was going on. Andrea said I pushed her. I tried to explain that she tried to kiss me and is stalking me, but I was drunk and not doing a great job. My friends also tried to explain that I was innocent, but they were also drunk. Security kicked me out of the bar. My friends walked me home. I am definitely going to try to get a restraining order. This has gone way too far.
Frostfoots says, "Now that it has gone beyond the gym, you need to start the process of getting a restraining order. She is unhinged as can be. You need to get the law on your side. Go back to the bar on a different night and ask for the manager. Explain the situation and the context, making sure to mention that you are in the process of taking out a restraining order against her for stalking and harassment. Try and clear your name. You were with friends and a woman walked in and immediately created a scene, but you were the one kicked out? No, I would be fighting that. That's some nonsense." Someone says, "She is literally stalking you and is only going to get worse. If she tries to follow you again, please call the police. Ask your gym for video footage of Andrea purposefully sabotaging your workouts, intentionally trying to harm you and following you around. This situation is insane and escalating from following you around the gym to fully intruding into your personal life. Does she have access to any of your social media? If so, definitely block her, as she is clearly starting to learn your patterns and outside hobbies. Be safe." A Reddit user says, "Sorry this is happening to you, original poster. People are rightfully calling out Andrea's stalking behavior, but I want to point out that she's also SAing you. I think what she did with you on the treadmill might be considered assault. Attempting to kiss a clearly drunk, non-consenting person is also attempted assault. Unfortunately, sometimes male victims of SA and assault aren't taken seriously. This happens to female victims as well, but in different ways. But please know, you're 100% right to be hurt, concerned, and afraid. Definitely recommend getting some detailed documentation of everything that's happened so far and setting up some safeguards for yourself. Security cameras, tipping off people you trust to look out for her, and so on. I'm also going to recommend reading The Gift of Fear by Gavin de Becker, or at least the chapter on how to get harassment like this to stop. There's a good section here about doing the minimal amount of engagement possible, as well as a good section about the pros and cons of restraining orders. Please take care, original poster. Rely on your support system as much as you can. Stay safe and know you aren't alone in this. You might want a support group or therapist to help you work through some of this too.
You know what just knocks my socks off? I mean, this story. Oh, the chaos of a night out, fueled by drinks, unexpected encounters, and the sheer madness that follows. I swear, the way things somehow spiral when you just want a chill night out, I can't even. It's like, can anything go right on a boozy evening? And here's one for all of you on this wild ride. Never underestimate the power of being prepared with a sober plan for situations like these. Seriously, plan it out like a military operation if you have to, because, well, we've read the outcome, right? But listen, if the wild ride of today's narrative taught us anything, it's that life's dramas need more than just a pint and a prayer. So, drop a comment below. What's your most chaotic night out tale? Give me one that tops this. And don't forget, if you thought this was intriguing, there are more tales waiting in the wings on this very channel. Hit that subscribe button, keep the good stories coming, and let's navigate through each of these crazier than fiction moments together. Cheers!